in the red dust hills of a village called T, where baobab trees stood like ancient sentinels and harmattan winds carried the scent of shea butter and charcoal. There lived a woman named Zahara binti Asa. Zahara had once been the quickest dancer at every naming ceremony. Her laughter used to rise like flute notes above the gem drums, bright and uncontainable. Men turned their heads when she passed. Women borrowed her smile the way they borrowed her indigo wrappers. But that was before the years began to count themselves without a cradle song in her compound. 10 rainy seasons had come and gone since she married Kofi, the quiet blacksmith whose forearms were scarred from 1,000 hammer kicks. 10 times the millet had been harvested, 10 times the moon had fattened and thinned, and still no child came to pull at Zahara's wrapper or sleep against her back. At first, the village women offered kind words and bitter herb. Later, they offered silence. Eventually, they offered nicknames. Laughing Stone, they began to whisper when she was not near. They said it because whenever another woman's newborn was presented at the market square, Zahara would arrive smiling, always smiling, her teeth very white against her dark skin. She would coo over the infant, press a coin into the mother's palm, and laugh a high, clear sound that rang against the clay walls like struck metal. Then she would walk home alone, still smiling, still laughing softly to herself until the sound cracked and became something else entirely when the compound gate closed behind her. The children of Tindanger, innocent and cruel in the way only children can be, made a game of it. Laughing Stone is coming, they would shout, scattering like guinea fowl when Zahara appeared on the path. They did not mean to wound. They simply repeated what they heard the aunties say. To them, it was a title as real as headman or drummer king. One late afternoon, after yet another woman, her cousin Maryam, had given birth to twins, Zahara sat beneath the big mango tree at the edge of the village. The fruit was still small and green. She held one in her palm, rolling it back and forth. A small girl, perhaps 7 years old, approached cautiously. Her name was Naima, the daughter of the palm wine tapper. She had never run from Zahara. Instead, she always stared with large, serious eyes. "Why do you laugh when the babies come?" Naima asked without greeting. Zahara looked at the child for a long moment. "Because if I do not laugh," she said quietly, "something heavier will come out of my mouth." Naima frowned, thinking, "Like what?" "Like stones," Zahara answered. "Big ones. The kind that sink wells and build walls. If I let them fall from my tongue, they would crush everything: the smiles, the congratulations, the little gifts of cloth I tie for the newborns. So I laugh instead. Laughter is lighter. It floats away." Naima sat down cross-legged in the dust beside her. "But stones don't float." "No," Zahara agreed, "they don't." For several minutes they said nothing. A lizard skidded across a route. Somewhere, a goat bleated once, twice. Then Naima reached into the small cloth bag she carried and pulled out a smooth, flat river stone, the color of burnt clay. She placed it in Zahara's hand. "For when the laughter gets too heavy," the girl said solemnly, "you can put the stones in here instead of in your mouth." Zahara turned the stone over. It was warm from the child's pocket. She closed her fingers around it. That evening, when the compound was quiet and Kofi was still at the forge, Zahara did something she had not done in years. She knelt beside the low clay bench where she usually pounded, lifted the hem of her wrapper, and pressed the river stone against the skin just below her navel. She did not speak to it. She did not pray. She simply held it there a long time, as though teaching her body the shape of something solid and patient. Months passed. The rains came again, harder than before. The river rose until it licked the roots of the oldest bog. And then, one morning, when the mist still hung thick over the millet fields, Zahara felt the first small flutter low in her belly, not laughter this time, but something quieter, more stubborn. She told no one for many weeks. When her belly finally rounded and could no longer hide beneath even the fullest wrapper, the village women came slowly, uncertain. They brought shea butter, groundnut oil, tiny beaded bracelets they had meant to give someone else's child. They did not call her Laughing Stone anymore. They called her Zahara. And when the baby arrived, a girl with lungs as strong as a market crier, Zahara did not laugh at the first cry. She wept. Not the silent weeping she had hidden behind closed gates for 10 years, but loud, astonished weeping that shook her shoulders and made the midwife smile knowingly. Later, when the child was sleeping between them and the oil lamp burned low, Kofi touched the tiny curled fist and whispered, "What shall we name her?" Zahara looked at the sleeping face, then at the small river stone she had placed on the ledge above the sleeping mat. "Naima," she said. "We shall call her Naima." Kofi raised an eyebrow. "After the palm wine tapper's daughter." "After the girl," Zahara answered, "who taught me that even stones can be carried gently." Outside, the night wind moved through the mango tree. Somewhere a nightjar called once, soft and far away. And for the first time in many years, the courtyard of Zahara bint Isa held no laughter that was trying to cover pain, only the small, even breathing of a child who had finally come home.